Welcome to our Applicant Pro hiring tip video. This is Ryan Kohler, CEO of Applicant Pro. Today we're going to talk about recruiting using Facebook groups. Some of you may not be familiar with Facebook groups, or maybe you've thought of them specifically around the idea of selling something like a yard sale group or buying something. But we're going to talk about Facebook groups when it comes to hiring today. And Facebook groups are a little bit different, probably not something, maybe if you spent some time using them, but specifically, they're a little bit different in the way they work. So I'm going to start off by showing you, what I mean by Facebook groups and how you would go about doing it, or what you should do. And then we're going to talk about specifically how you would do it using Applicant Pro. So we're going to start with Facebook groups themselves. If I come here and clear this out, I'll go back to my main homepage here on Facebook. We start off by using the search bar up here to run some searches. And specifically what we're searching for is to figure out what groups are in my local area that I could join and post to. So I suggest that you type in your city. You could also put in your state. You could put in the type of job it is, like nursing, a major metro area name. You'll just have to kind of go and do some trial and error and run a handful of searches to figure out what location or what you want to type in here. But there's three main words you want to test this with. The word hiring, so Kansas City hiring, or St. George hiring, or Salt Lake City, Utah hiring. Once you run the search, you're not looking at this top part. This is Facebook's job board that we'll be looking at in the future. But this groups area down here, you can click on groups and click see all, and this is going to show you all the groups that match Kansas City hiring as a search. And you can see how many members they have. I'm not going to spend my time working on a group or posting a group that only has 26 people, but a few hundred to a few thousand could really work well depending on your area and what you're looking for. And so I can try hiring. You might also want to try the word jobs. It looks like it's based on the title and the description. So if they only have jobs, or if they only have hiring, or if they only have help wanted, usually hiring, jobs, and then the final one to put in here would be help wanted, right? And that's going to show you all of the groups in your area. If you find one that's got enough members that you can click and go look at it, read kind of their description of what it is. Some of these groups it's super interesting. These groups are very democratic and capitalist, meaning anybody can build them. It's the Wild West of building your own group or your own job board on Facebook. These are not managed or maintained by Facebook. Anybody could build one. You could go and build one tomorrow yourself, at which point you would be the administrator and anybody else you assigned as the administrator. And so, just as a good example, they get to decide what jobs get posted and which ones don't. They can block them. They can block you from the group. You can see here they're saying that this site is where you can post jobs. They don't want scams, only legitimate jobs, etc. And so you just click join, and that will put in your request to join the group. And so pick and choose whatever groups you want to join. So you might try Kansas City. You could also come in here and go to the state level and type in, something like Utah, and search at a much higher level and see what jobs are out there. Again, the crazy thing about this is anybody could create any group out there. You could even put, nursing jobs. And so, if you run a search for nursing, whoops, I need to get back to showing the group, sorry. Then it will show whatever groups there are. So there's 12,000 people joining this group for nursing jobs in Australia. And so just really great ways to be able to find the groups and join them. So that's the how. Now let me show you how they work. I'm going to go to this St. George now hiring. There's kind of three different types of activities that take place in here and three different ways that you can engage. The very first way would be if you think about this like it's just a job board, right? You're going to just post a little blurb about your job with a link to your Applicant Pro site, and hopefully people will read it, click, and go apply. That's kind of option number one for how to engage Facebook groups. So we're just going to go and post our job there. Now, this is a little interesting. This Lexi person here, she's actually not in HR. And so I think she's actually just posting this job at her employer for their employer referral bonus. which is one way to use Facebook groups. Is if you don't want to do even any of this work, use our employee referral portal and teach your employees to use Facebook groups to post those links out there. And so this is option number one. Now, option number two is to take this a step further, and it might actually annoy some of you guys when you're posting here, but you're not just posting a job like you're posting on Indeed. Job seekers actually have the ability to comment on your post, and you're going to get notified when they make those comments. And so certainly you could ignore them. I don't suggest it, but you could. But inside of these comments are some really valuable information. Number one is information about the kind of questions job seekers have when they look at your job and read it. And why this is important is because some of these people might have some questions that if you don't answer them, they won't apply. More importantly, though, you can extrapolate that information out and say, well, if 10 people or even if one person has this question about a job ad on Facebook, there's probably 100 people with that same question on Indeed, but those people never engage with me. And so you can engage in the comments, answer questions in the comments. It's a great thing to do. But more importantly, go back and fix your ad. I'll give you a great example. We had a client, a retail company here in St. George. We posted one of their jobs on Facebook groups. It was a part-time job. We got flooded with comments that were saying, hey, what are the hours? What days of the week will I have to work, etc. They had failed to put in their schedule, the required schedule for somebody to work. And lots of job seekers were stopping and not applying because they didn't know. Nobody wants to spend their time applying for a job just to find out that they can't work the schedule you want. And so this was a great way to gather that information, go back to the client and say, hey, you need to update your job ad, because if a bunch of people on Facebook have this question, hundreds of people on Indeed might have that same question. So I really like the communication that and the feedback you're able to get from job seekers, because it allows you to start to edit and adjust and refine your job ad, because the goal of the job ad is to answer any questions a job seeker might have that would stop them from applying. Then you've got option number 3. Job seekers come to these Facebook groups and they actually post a question, right? So here's somebody moving to the area this winter. They're looking for a job, right? You've got somebody who is looking for a job in an animal place, kind of like PetSmart. And so you've got, I think there's somebody on here that's looking for a job for their husband, right? My husband's looking for a full-time job, preferably one with benefits, right? And so these are job seekers posting questions to the group, asking who's hiring and if they know of a place that's hiring. Now, us HR folks might look at that and say, you got to be kidding me. The answer is go search on Indeed, go search on Google, go search on the job boards, right? But I don't believe that it's just that these people don't know that Indeed exists. I believe there's a handful of reasons why a job seeker would post a question like this in a group on Facebook instead of simply going to Google and searching. Number one would be they know that not all jobs are posted on Indeed. There's still a lot of jobs out there with help wanted sign in the window. They know that not all jobs are posted publicly. There's a lot of companies who only hire employee referrals, and so they don't post the job anywhere. And the only way to find the job would be to know somebody who works there. Number 3, I think a lot of them might actually be asking for an opinion. They're not just saying, hey, tell me anybody who's hiring. They're kind of hoping for an in. They're hoping somebody will say, hey, my work is hiring. We're looking for X, Y, and Z. Do this to get hired. Maybe vouching for the company. Hey, my work is hiring. It's an awesome place to work. You should check this out. And so there's some other reasons why they're asking those questions. So you as an employer, you could comment back. Let's say that you've got a job that is a good fit for this person. You could comment back on here and say, hey, we're hiring, and give them a link to the job. And so just a really cool way to go about using Facebook groups. Now let's talk about how to actually do it in Applicant Pro. First thing you're going to want to do, come in here to your settings area, go to the sources tab, and make sure you have a source called Facebook. While you're at it, connect that Facebook to Facebook job groups. The reason why we want to do this is we want to know if this works. Even though it's pretty easy to post your job on Facebook groups, and I'm going to show you how easy it is in a second here, I want to know that it's working for you guys. I don't want you spending your time doing things that aren't working. And if it does work, then you should go to your boss and take credit for it, right? Go to your boss and say, hey, I found this really cool group on Facebook. We're posting our jobs there. We're getting X number of applicants and hiring them. You know, aren't I special? I did a good job, right? I found this other way to recruit, and it didn't cost us any money. So go and make sure you have a source. Once you've got a source, go over to your jobs tab, find a job that you want to advertise, and go to the job board push section and go to this social manual tab. Now there's two different ways that you can post to Facebook using this setup. Number one, click on the Facebook share icon. It's going to bring you into Facebook. Now right here, if I put in, we're hiring, click on the link. I could post this and it would post it just to my timeline, but if I change this drop down to share in a group, and then I start typing in the name of the group, I can just select it. And so super fast, right? I type in a little blurb, choose the group, and I press post. Now, one thing I would suggest, certainly it's possible for job seekers to go and click and read more about it, but you might want to adjust this paragraph to provide them some good information, at least enough that they know whether they should go and read more or not. Or think of this like your lead-in. This little blurb right here is your opportunity to convince job seekers who are a good fit that they should want to read more. So write a good little blurb. Doesn't need to be super long, 2 or 3 or 4 sentences, but give them enough information that they would be excited about coming and joining your team. But that's all I need to do. I click post and it's posted. Option number 2 is you can come back here to generate a jobs link, choose Facebook and press generate and grab this URL. Now the reason why I would want to grab this URL would be if I was going to respond to this individual's question with, we're hiring, have him apply on our site, right? And so if I did that and pasted in the link, I could now hit enter and it would post it as a comment. And once again, the job ID is in here, but also the source is in here, meaning that if this person or anybody else were to click on that link and come, we will know they came from Facebook. The other interesting thing that I don't think I brought up that happens in these groups, and so a way to think about why these are valuable. Let's see if I can find one of these. Here we go. Here's a great example. So this company, the Meadows, they're hiring CNAs, and so they posted this sign, this picture, into the group. Said, hey, and here's a great example. It's a great place to work. But if you look down in the comments, you'll see a whole bunch of people's names in here. If you're not familiar with Facebook, this is called tagging somebody in a post. So Madison here is a member of this group, but she's tagging Tori, who might not even be a member of the group, about the job, which will pop up a notification for Tori telling her to go and look at it. When we did a few different tests with this, what we found was that over 50% of the people who were tagged in a posting actually went and applied. So it doesn't take very many people. If we look at this right here, my data says they got at least 3 people, if not a whole bunch more, to apply specifically off of this ad, but more importantly, because somehow their friends or acquaintances told them about this job. So it's almost like you've got a crowdsourced group of people just out there trying to help other people get jobs. And so that's the other way to see success and results from Facebook. But great idea. It's worked really well on the clients we've tested with. Go out there and test it out for yourself. See if it works. It'll take you less time to actually go and try this than it took you to listen to the video. But love to hear your feedback. If it works for you, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know. But have a great week.